Hi everyone. Today is Wednesday, October the 13th, and it feels like it's been a while since I last recorded, but I had dental surgery last week, and so it was hard to talk. So I decided to give myself a break and just do garden work, and I built a little bit of like a greenhouse and planted, or not planted, but transplanted some of my plants into the greenhouse area. But anyways, I wanted to get back on the horse today, and because oh yeah, while I was doing my gardening stuff and kind of letting my mouth heal, I listened to several of Jim Rickards' books. And I'm hoping today to make a bit of a book review on three that I think go really well. They're chronologically written in succession. So, the first one is Road to Ruin, the global elite's secret plan for the next financial crisis. The second one is Aftermath, and I do have a book review already put up of Aftermath. And then the most recent one is The New Great Depression, Winners and Losers in a Post-Pandemic World. Oh, and by the way, the subtitle of the Aftermath one is Seven Secrets of Wealth Preservation. And this is my book where I write my notes and stuff because I like to write things from the books I listen to. So, and before I begin, I must say that Road to Ruin and Aftermath are supposed to be actually read in conjunction with his other two books, which I've not read. Those other two books are called Currency Wars or War, and The Death of Money, because these four books together are supposed to be like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And you can tell that kind of motif in in these quotes that he has from the Bible of the apocalypse. So, so with that, let me begin. So, what I loved about The Road to Ruin was he began with a brief sort of critique. Well, he began with talking about Felix Someri and Austrian economics, which I really enjoy and something I deeply appreciate as opposed to the regular economics that we learn in college, or that I learned in college. But then, in his introduction, he goes into a critique on all three schools, or Austrian, Keynesian, Neo-Keynesian, and where sort of, each one can kind of take it to the next level. I don't necessarily agree with, or I can't say don't necessarily agree with. I'm still on the fence about his critique about the Austrian one, which are primarily, you don't need 100% backing, and sort of he goes into this in the next book in Aftermath, where he talks about sort of a partial backing with like crypto gold kind of thing. And to me, I'm a bit of a purist that way, where, and that, how can I even say I'm a purist given that, I even allow myself to transact in this made up fiat currency business. That being said, I think if you want to fix something, you have to go all the way. And so, so that sort of, that purist in me likes the pure Austrian, even though he says, well, that would be kind of too deflationary. But then, even Bitcoin's deflationary, is it not? And so he gives all these critiques. I completely agree with his critique, of, what was it? God, this stupid equation I remember learning in college. What was it? MV equals P times GDP where V is constant and P is equal to 1. And I remember thinking, this is bullshit. Why am I studying this? This is garbage. I hated economics. I did my bachelor's in economics and I did my MBA in finance. And I'm getting my doctoral in psychology. Interesting combination, but I remember just having this utter disdain of economics because that equation just sounded like crap to me. And and he said as much. He said that this is, that equation is great for an elegant thought experiment, but it doesn't work in the real world. And I was like, well, yeah, thank you. So so I really enjoyed that book. So anyways, that was just the introduction of the book. He goes into sort of like describing these foreshocks that occur. Interestingly, these foreshocks are given at the same sort of time as those Shemitah years in Judaism or in Jewish tradition. I'm not Jewish. I don't know much about Judaism, but I have heard of these years, and he doesn't go into the specific years, but he goes into 1998, 2008, and 2018. But he anecdotally speaks of not just the 1971, Nixon closing the gold window business, but he speaks about how that kind of got full and final, so to speak, by 1973, and the legacy of Ford in terms of allowing or letting private citizens hold gold again. And so 1973, 1980 being the peak of gold, 1987 the big crash, 1994 the tequila crisis, 2001 he did not go into 2001 much, but then 2008, 2015 he spoke about some Chinese debt thing, something happened. Anyways, but he goes into all these, and now I think the next year that's coming up is 2022. So I thought that was really cool, even though he did not call it out. I don't know what his religious, affiliation is, because he does read so many like biblical things. I think he may be a Catholic. Who knows? But but I thought that was pretty interesting. So he describes in 1998, 2008, and 2018 as these foreshocks, and then he talks about how, like, a coming earthquake kind of thing, which little did he know, probably, or maybe he did know. Who knows? I mean, he was a CIA guy, so, and he has powerful networks. So I don't know how much he does actually know about, or he knew about what was coming up. But I felt like his book was very prescient. He also talks a lot about, he gives a lot of equations, and especially equations about probability, because how we think of probabilities as as a completely independent event, and not as an event that is dependent on a past event. And I think that is a really good way to think about probabilities, because, so for example, this is not a very good example, but I mean, not a very financial example. Let's take an addict, for example. How likely is an addict likely to relapse? The more number of times they relapse, that's a very past dependent occurrence, is it not? Why would that be different about a country that has a very high debt level? So that's kind of my example for that. But and okay. Oh, and he this is just a general comment about his entire style of writing. I really love his style of writing, because in between, and he just throws it in there every now and then. He'll describe like where he is, or like he describes being in this place, this mansion or this house of this Colonna family in Italy. And he's gone there for some dinner or lunch or something, and he's having this meal, and he asks this Italian brunette next to him, gee, this family has preserved wealth for 900 years. How did that happen? But his style of writing is just so lyrical and so descriptive that when you're listening to him, you feel like you're in that beautiful mansion with the beautiful paintings on the walls, and the summer breeze, and you can almost feel the architecture that that he's experienced when he describes even climbing up mountains, or like I guess he goes, I don't know, it's not called hiking, whatever it's called, mountain climbing, or like when they go up, I don't know, Mount Everest or something. I don't know what that talent is called. I barely even hike, but but yeah. So where was I going? Yeah, you always get to almost experience what he's experiencing when he describes something. And so I really enjoyed that. And the lesson from that also, where he said, where he asked that person, how do you, how is wealth preserved? And this lady said, very simple. It's just, a third, a third, and a third. And she said, a third in land, a third in art, and a third in land, a third in art, and a third in gold. And she said something about investing in things that last. And and I thought that was very significant, because even just spiritually speaking, because I do think that financials and all that aside, what does last, your integrity. And I'm veering off book right now. This is not what he says in the book, but what lasts? Your integrity lasts. Your kindness lasts. Your heart lasts. I mean, not your like the beating of your heart, but the care you demonstrate, that lasts. Your family, and again the care of that lasts. Loyalty. When I say your family lasts, I don't mean like nobody dies. I mean, yeah, well, nobody dies on the eternal sense, but I mean, when I say family, I mean that loyalty that lasts. Your soul lasts. Karma lasts. So I thought this book was very inspiring and thought-provoking. Okay, and this video is already pretty long, and I was wanting to talk about Road to Ruin, Aftermath, and the New Great Depression in one video. So I'm gonna stop with the Road to Ruin only, and I'm probably gonna make another one for the New Great Depression, and one for Aftermath as well, even though I have made one for Aftermath. But yeah, we'll see about that. Anyways, well, thank you for listening, and if I hope this brought some value to your life. And yeah, and if it did, feel free to comment and to share. Take care. Bye.